So welcome back to Runner Q&A, where we answer your questions to help you get the most out of your running and training. And here's our next question.
So our next question is from Toni. Toni asks, how often should you incorporate strength training and what are the best exercises to do? So Toni's asking how often should we incorporate strength training into our training program for running? And that's a good question. Well, I'd say one of the rules that I like to always go by is keep the easy days easy and the hard days hard. So if you're going to add strength training or another harder training into your training program, put it on a day when you run, on a run day, and not on a rest day. Keep rest days for rest, and hard days, workout days for working out. I'd also say think about keeping your primary sport or doing your primary sport first. So our primary sport as runners is running, for most of us anyways. And if you're going to add strength training, do your run first, followed by your strength training. You want to get the most out of your running session, and then you can go into your next session. And that's pretty important to follow if you want to get the most out of the running. And then?
I think it's also important too that if you're incorporating strength or starting to incorporate strength training into your running program, that you do it from the outset, from the start of the season, and then taper it off towards the end of the season, particularly as the miles start to pick up. Strength training is a great foundational activity to help build strength early in the training season while the miles are still low, while the distance is lower. And then that gives you a solid foundation of strength that you can then carry forward into your running as the kilometers and miles picks up as well.
Yes. So think about that when you're thinking about starting strength training in the middle of your training season. Your miles are going to be higher. The load is going to be much heavier on your body, and starting a strength training program at that time is probably not the best. Start it early and then taper it out as the training gets heavier for running, because running is our primary sport. Remember that. And then also one thing to remember to think about is if you're going to start a training program and you don't have any running or strength training experience or not any recent strength training experience, I'd start with one day. Add one day to your training program, and if you have a heavy run on a Tuesday, that's a good day to add some strength training. And then after you've been doing that for a few weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, you can add another day. That's usually a good plan. If you've already been doing 2, you can start with 2 and add another day. And for most runners in long distance training, most of the time, 1 or 2 days in a week is enough.
Yeah, no, I think that's some really good points. And then I think to answer the second part of the question, like what are some of the best exercises to do, we'll just give you a bit of a list of exercises, and then we can create another video which will go into more in depth on how to do the exercises, what to do, what not to do, and the technique stuff. But I think if we go through 5 or 6 exercises now, give you a list, that will be a good start.
Yes. So we've compiled a list, and there are a lot of exercises that are great for runners, yes. But there are several that you could do on a regular basis, well, not that many, that would have a pretty big impact on your running and your strength. And walking lunges are one of them.
Yes. Second would be sumo squats or even regular squats, and then progressing to a sumo squat.
And then planks are also a really nice exercise to add into your strength training program as a runner.
Yeah, and of course burpees. For those that love burpees and those that don't, they're a great all-round exercise.
Absolutely. And push-ups. Push-ups are a nice exercise for runners. We need to strengthen the muscles in our upper body as well. Think about that. This is also a very good exercise for strengthening the core.
Yeah, and also toe touches, which are great for creating a bit of instability and focusing on one leg sort of movements and strength.
Absolutely. And that's the list
that we've
come up with.
If you can go through those 6 and incorporate them into your running routine, you'll start to see some results pretty quickly.
Yeah, and if you find that 6 is too many to add into your run, your week, then I'd say start with 2 or 3 and work your way up. The idea is to start small and gradually increase, the same as you do with your running program. And to think about always scaling back your strength training during rest weeks of your training program too, because you really want your rest days to be rest days, your rest weeks to be rest weeks. So if you're increasing your training while you're doing strength training during a rest week, you're doing yourself a disservice. And you also want to taper back your strength training when you do your taper at the end of your training program, just before you get to your race, your event. So think about that as well. And
Yeah.
that's all. Hopefully we answered your question, Toni. And if any of you have any other questions out there, feel free to leave them in the comments, send us a message. We'll be happy to answer. And we hope you got some value from this video and that you'll be back to watch some more.
Yeah, happy training.
Thank you.